almost every major economic event in modern history has one thing in common: oil. When oil prices rise, your flights get expensive, your food prices increase, inflation spikes. And when oil prices fall, entire countries can suddenly lose billions of dollars. But here's the interesting part. Most people know oil is important, but very few people actually understand why. As the Wall Street Journal once wrote, oil remains the lifeblood of the global economy. In just 8 minutes, we're going to break it down simply. We'll cover what oil actually is, why some countries have it and others don't, why oil prices can change incredibly fast, and why governments care so much about it. Once you understand oil, a lot of global events start making much more sense. Oil quietly affects your daily life. When oil prices increase, food becomes more expensive. Shipping costs increase. Airline tickets go up. Manufacturing becomes more costly. That's because oil sits at the center of the global economy. It powers transportation, agriculture, industry, and logistics. So even if you never buy oil directly, you are constantly paying for it indirectly. The International Energy Agency summarizes it well. Quote, "Modern economies remain deeply dependent on oil for transport, industry, and global trade." Understanding oil isn't about becoming an expert in energy. It's about understanding how the modern economy works. Let's start with the basics. Oil, also called petroleum, is a natural liquid found deep underground. It formed millions of years ago from ancient plants and microscopic organisms. When these organisms died, they sank to the bottom of oceans and lakes. Over millions of years, layers of sediment buried them deeper and deeper. Heat and pressure slowly transformed this organic material into oil. So when we use oil today, we're actually using energy stored from ancient life that existed hundreds of millions of years ago. The U.S. Energy Information Administration explains it this way. Petroleum was formed from the remains of ancient marine organisms buried under layers of sediment and rock. But oil isn't evenly distributed around the planet. It only forms in places where the right geological conditions existed long ago. That's why some countries have huge reserves, and others have almost none. Oil usually forms in sedimentary basins. These are areas where ancient seas once existed. Countries that were once covered by prehistoric oceans are much more likely to contain oil. That's why regions like the Middle East, Russia, the United States, and Venezuela have massive oil reserves. Meanwhile, many countries simply don't have the right geology. It's not about technology. Sometimes the oil simply isn't there. As The Economist explains, geology, more than politics or technology, determines where the world's oil reserves exist. This uneven distribution of resources has had a huge impact on global politics. Countries that produce oil often gain significant economic influence. Extracting oil is a complex and expensive process. First, companies search for underground reservoirs using seismic imaging and geological surveys. If a potential oil field is found, engineers drill wells deep into the earth. Sometimes oil naturally flows to the surface. Other times, pumps are required to extract it. Modern techniques like hydraulic fracturing, often called fracking, can also release oil trapped in rock formations. But developing an oil field takes time, sometimes years or even decades. As the Financial Times explains, bringing a new oil field into production often takes many years of exploration, drilling, and infrastructure investment. And this long development timeline is important because it means oil supply cannot change overnight. Most people associate oil with gasoline, but oil powers far more than just cars. Transportation. Cars, trucks, airplanes, and cargo ships rely heavily on oil-based fuels. Agriculture. Modern farming uses diesel-powered tractors, harvesters, and irrigation systems. Even fertilizers often rely on petroleum-based chemicals. Manufacturing. Plastics, synthetic fibers, chemicals, packaging materials, and electronics all rely on petroleum products. Logistics. The global shipping system that moves goods between countries runs largely on oil-powered cargo ships. Even everyday objects contain petroleum products. Your smartphone case, your sneakers, your shampoo bottle. As National Geographic explains, petroleum products appear in thousands of everyday items, from plastics and cosmetics to medical equipment. Oil is deeply embedded in modern life, which means when oil prices change, the effects spread across the entire economy. Now, let's talk about something that confuses many people. Oil prices can change incredibly quickly. The reason is expectations. Markets constantly react to future supply and demand. If traders believe supply might fall, prices often rise immediately. For example, if conflict threatens oil production in a major exporting country, traders may expect shortages. Even if production hasn't changed yet, prices can rise. Natural disasters can have a similar effect. When hurricanes approach oil-producing regions like the Gulf of Mexico, companies sometimes shut down operations temporarily. Markets respond instantly. Political decisions also play a role. Organizations like OPEC sometimes reduce oil production to support higher prices. As the Wall Street Journal explains, oil prices often move not just on current supply and demand, but on expectations of future disruptions. So oil prices respond not only to what is happening today, but to what markets believe might happen tomorrow. But oil also connects to something even bigger: global finance. After World War II, the global financial system quietly tied oil to the US dollar. Most oil transactions worldwide are priced in dollars. This created something powerful. If you want oil, you need dollars. And if you need dollars, you strengthen the US financial system. This is known as the petrodollar system. As the Council on Foreign Relations explains, because oil is largely priced in dollars, global demand for energy reinforces global demand for the US dollar. This means oil isn't just energy, it's financial leverage. So when a country controls large oil reserves, it gains economic influence, political leverage, military advantage, and currency power. This is why conflicts often cluster around oil-rich regions. It's not about fuel for cars, it's about controlling economic gravity. When you zoom out, oil is more than just fuel. It's a foundational resource that supports transportation, industry, agriculture, and global trade. Because the global economy depends on it, oil often becomes part of economic policy and geopolitical strategy. As the Wall Street Journal put it, energy security remains one of the central strategic concerns of modern governments. Understanding oil helps connect many global events that might otherwise seem unrelated. Now, let's bring this back to you. When oil prices rise, inflation becomes harder to control. Central banks struggle to stabilize the economy. Interest rates often stay higher for longer. Markets become more volatile. If oil supply is disrupted long enough, entire economies can slow down. Companies cut costs, hiring slows, economic growth contracts. As the Financial Times notes, energy prices play a central role in global inflation and economic stability. So even if you never trade oil, oil still shapes your future. Your mortgage rate, your grocery bill, your job market. Oil touches all of it. So to recap, oil formed millions of years ago from ancient organic material. Only certain regions of the world developed the geological conditions needed to create large reserves. Extracting oil takes years of investment and infrastructure. Oil powers transportation, agriculture, manufacturing, and global trade. And because the global economy depends on it, changes in supply or demand can quickly influence prices, inflation, and geopolitics. Understanding oil helps you understand how the modern world works. If you enjoy learning how global systems actually work, subscribe to Novigma. Each video breaks down complex economic and technological topics in a clear and simple way. And if there's a topic you'd like us to explain next, let us know in the comments. See you in the next video.